Hello friends, today we are going to provide a brief review of fAU-G single player campaign. But before we begin, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed already. So let's go ahead and let's kick off the review. The game rose to prominence thanks to Akshay Kumar announcing it on Twitter in the month of September 2020, mere days after PUBG or PUBG was banned in India. People started anticipating that this would probably end up being an Indian PUBG or Indian PUBG clone, riding on the waves of Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, which would cash in on the void created by lack of PUBG in India. This game is developed by Ncore Games. Vishal Gondal, co-founder of Ncore, is a well-known name in the Indian gaming industry. He was also the founder of India Games, which produced India's first 3D game titled Yodha, which means the warrior, in 2000. And this game was inspired by the Kargil War of 1999. So as of now, in fAU-G, the team deathmatch and free-for-all modes are not available. They're still locked, which leaves us with only the Tales from Galwan Valley campaign. So the bilateral agreements between India and China restrain soldiers from both the sides from using firearms. And that being said, the only option that's available in the game to the protagonist is to engage in close quarter combat with his fists and kicks. Besides that, the protagonist can also carry a maximum of 2 melee weapons. The game starts off with a short tutorial helping us navigate the environment and the basics of combat mechanism. Additionally, you can also rest at a campfire to heal yourself. And this kind of reminded me of the Dark Souls games. Thankfully, the enemies do not respawn once you have rested at the campsite, and you can carry forward without any resistance. Actually, I do not play a lot of mobile games, and that being said, this would be the first mobile game review that I would be doing. I felt that the graphics were decent. I did not observe any collision errors between the character models or the character models and the environment. However, the voice acting, both in Hindi and English, was definitely cliched and cringeworthy. This aspect can definitely be improved upon. Here's a sample of that.
Not such an elite commander after all. You think you will last longer than your friends? Give up before we make you.
अपने भाइयों को बचाना मेरा फर्ज है और उन्हें पकड़ने वालों को मारना मजा।
Additionally, there's also lack of background music. That is to say that whenever we are progressing forward, when we are not engaged in a fight or there's no cutscene on the screen, during that time the game feels bland as there's no background music. And coming to story, the story is riding on the wave of patriotism, where during a clash at Galwan with the Chinese forces, one fAU-G gets impacted due to landslides. When he regains consciousness, he figures out that a lot of his men have died and few are missing. Determined to find his teammates, he believes that they have been captured by the enemy forces. He marches forward, kicking and punching any enemy troop on the way. Ultimately, he chooses to cross the LAC in search of his teammates and manages to rescue one of his teammates towards the end. The game feels like a 3D brawler where you have to muscle your way forward. The enemies don't pose a serious challenge at all, and the 25-minute timer is pretty generous if you look at the entire gameplay of the game. People should be able to complete the campaign way before the timer ends. I felt a lot of enemies were added just to fill in the timer and to ensure that the game length gets increased. Now, coming back to combat, I also felt that even though I was trying to position myself to hit other enemies, the game kind of locked me in on the nearest enemy. Camera and the controls are actually clunky and they can be fine-tuned so that the combat experience becomes more positive and more pleasant. And the character should be free to break away from a fight, pick up weapons and get back in, which is not the case as of now. So right now, once your character engages in a fight, he kind of keeps on getting locked onto the enemies and he cannot run freely on the terrain to pick up weapons, which is a major problem. And another point that I would like to add, which I felt would be a good add-in, would be if the enemies and the protagonist could actually catch fire or if fire damage can be enabled when they come in contact with the campfire. So this we have seen happening in a lot of video games, especially in Ghost of Tsushima some time back. So this mechanism would be better than the blind close quarter combats that we get engaged in time and time again. And as I said, coming back to close quarter combat, the lack of firearms due to the plot makes the game feel a tad boring. Hopefully, in the future, they'll have newer campaigns set on other borders where we do not have such agreements with our neighboring countries. As expected, even the final boss fight wasn't very difficult either. And once we do overpower the boss, the final cutscene of the game plays, where you save your comrade Ahmed and carry the Indian tricolor flag back with you and hoist the flag, hopefully on the Indian side of LAC, because that hasn't been confirmed. So do let us know in the comments, how did you find this game? So I completed the game with almost 5 minutes to spare on the clock and wasn't expecting anything further after the final cutscene. However, to my surprise, there I was back in the game with almost 5 minutes left on the counter. And right now, I had absolutely no idea what I had to do. The progress or completion was still not registered. I tried to figure out if there was a way to progress further. Ended up hitting dead end, found nothing. Tried to see if I missed something in the past. Nope, that was not the case either. Then I just tried to get back to the beginning of the map, to the beginning area of the game, to see if the developers wanted us to cross the LAC back. Even then, nothing. Ultimately, the time ran out and I was greeted with a mission fail screen. So I have no idea if they've forgotten to add a end trigger to the game as of now. Needless to say, I wanted to record a complete playthrough of the campaign for you guys, but the game saves your progress in between. And right now, there's no option to restart the campaign from the beginning, due to which I'm unable to share the initial 8 minutes of the gameplay where I was testing the game mechanics. In my opinion, the game is a very forgetful affair once you have played the campaign, and you won't be missing much if you haven't downloaded or played it yet. As I generally play only the single player campaigns, there won't be a follow-up video on fAU-G once the multiplayer facets have been made available. So this is my final review, which is limited only to the single player campaign of the game on launch. As usual, if you have liked the video, do press like, do leave a comment for us. Yes, I do personally respond to each and every comment on any of the videos on our channel. Do not forget to subscribe and share the video with your friends. Hoping that you guys had a good time, I'm leaving you with some more footage from fAU-G.
हम साथ लड़ेंगे और हमें साथ। अगर मैं मरा तो मैं उन्हें याद रखने के लिए कुछ ना कुछ देकर मरूंगा।